USTEC 100, and in fact we have an interesting position running right now as we took advantage of a sell position right here yesterday. So this week has been we bought at the beginning of the week. Remember, we took advantage of the bullish momentum. So let's run through this quickly and see how the week started for us and what led into the ideas we have taken so far this week. Now, at the beginning of the week on the USTEC 100, we initially identified this range where price was confined within the 15,323 and the 15,288 area to give us an insight into the level of indecision at the beginning of this week. Now, you know how we do it in this community. Whenever we identify a range like this, a flat channel which emphasizes the uncertainty in the market, we want to be exercising patience, waiting for either the breakout of the resistance line for buying opportunity or the breakdown of the support line for selling opportunity. And of course, we never saw the breakdown of the support line, and instead the breakout of the resistance line was what happened here, which triggered our first buy position for the week. And in fact, if you had missed out on that opportunity, the market was so kind, came back to retest the structure, giving us more opportunity to be part of that uptrend move. Then we added more positions at the breakout of the 15,375 as we rode that move all the way into the 15,470 level. I would like to readjust this quickly. That was a typographical error. So we had the 15,470. So for the first one here, we had price move over 150 pips in our favor. The second position moved over 95 pips. So as at the first trading day of this week, we were already over 200 pips in profit on this one before the bearish momentum came in. And remember what I said here yesterday as regards to the setup, that for everyone who is in a buy position at that point, that we want to be moving our stop losses accordingly to secure the current buy position. And if you had done that, you must have been taken out with a modest size of profit on that one. And once again, congratulations to you. Now, during our live session yesterday, while we were trying to decipher what our next line of action would be, we acknowledged the presence of sellers around the 15,470. Now, despite the strong impulsive bullish move we saw here at the beginning of the week, we saw how buyers were finding it difficult to continue to the upside as we saw sellers gradually come in to take out the buyers at that point, hereby giving us something like a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure, as you will be seeing here. And one of the things I said here yesterday is that we are going to be depending on this ascending trend line to guide our independent trading decisions. And one of the things we agreed is that if price breaks down this trend line, we shall be looking out for selling opportunities. And this is what happened here. We saw the breakdown, and in fact, we saw price come back to retest the structure to further emphasize that we are likely going to be seeing a momentum shift. And this triggered a sell position for us. And remember, it trigger the sell positions around the ascending trend line, as you will see here. And remember that we had multiple levels on this chart that we said we were going to be using to maximize that move all the way to the downside. So we have the 15,375. We also had the 15,323, and of course the 15,288 level to maximize this move to the downside. And in fact, if you still have a sell position right now, you will be currently running with this first move with about 140 pips in profit. And if you are taking advantage of the second position right here, you will be having about 120 pips. And then we have another one at the breakdown of the 15,323, and that's about 60 pips in profit. And if you're also taking advantage of this one too, that's about 25 pips in profit at this point. So we are roughly over 300 pips in profit on the USTEC 100 on this single bearish move to the downside. What a phenomenal week it is for us here. On the buy position, we were able to scoop in over over 100 to 200 pips in profit, and right now we're having another over 300 pips in profit, making a total of over 500 pips on the first half of this week. In fact, well done and congratulations to everyone who had been part of this profitable journey. Now, you know what we are going to be doing out right now, as usual, whenever price action moves significantly well in our favor, the next thing we want to be doing is to move all stop losses and secure this current sell position. And from the look of things right now, we want to be having enough room for price action to breathe. So I will be suggesting that anywhere above the 15,315 and the 15,350 area, secure all sell positions within this range. And the reason why we're having something as wide as that is simply because we want to give enough room for price action to breathe. Now, with a well secured position at this juncture in the market, what is going to be our next line of action for today? Are we going to continue selling the USTEC 100, or is it time to start buying the USTEC 100? Well, to answer that, we would like to scale up into the higher time frame to see what things are looking like from an holistic perspective. And remember, we have the US CPI data coming up much more later today in about an hour or two from now, which will be giving us clues into what is likely going to be happening. In fact, the anticipation of this event is going to be giving us signals on what is likely going to be happening during the event. Now, before we do that, let's scale up into the 4 hours time frame. Now, on the 4 hours time frame, this was what we were able to spot at the beginning of the week. Initially, we acknowledged that price action has been on a strong bullish momentum, so we reduced our focus to what has been going on since the mid-month of August. And in fact, we have a couple of ascending trend line here to buttress the strength of the buyers in this market. Now, in addition to this trend line is a key level we were able to spot at the 15,250. Now, if we go to as far back as the beginning of the month of August, we saw how the 15,250 zone had been a major determinant of price action. So you can see we have the 15,250 around this area. And in recent times, let's say since the beginning of this month, price has been trading most of the time above that level, giving us clues of how buyers are very, very strong around that area. Now, if we look at what has been going on here in the last 24 hours, you will see right now that price is gradually approaching into that 15,250 level. And not only that, it's beginning to find buy pressure around that area. Now, the question going into today's trading session is, will price respect that level one more time to incite an uptrend scenario, or are we going to be having a situation where the breakdown retest of the level will be sending price crashing further to the downside? Then another thing we also buttressed on at the beginning of this week was this descending trend line. Let me bring back the candle chart right here. So we have the descending trend. Let me adjust this so we can capture all the wicks. Okay, beautiful. So we have this descending trend line here after connecting the series of lower highs. Remember, we had some lower highs here since the beginning of this month. And we saw what happened yesterday. We saw price broke out of that trend line for the first time, giving us a sign that the trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate the bullish attempt. And from a technical standpoint, when price breaks out of a key structure, has this descending trend line here, we expect that some point in time price will come back, retest the trend line to incite an uptrend continuation. So is this what's going to happen today? Well, we don't know. It depends on how price reacts to this important confluence here at the 15,250 that will determine what our next line of action will be. Now, with this information we have gathered here, you will agree with me that we are at a crucial juncture in this market where, depending on how price action or how participants in the market react to this price zone, will determine what our next line of action will be. So will price retest that structure and incite another move to the upside, or will it break down the structure and resume back into the seller's territory to incite a sell-off? Now, to get a better perspective into what is really going on around this area in the last 16 hours, we would need to scale down into the 1 hour time frame. Now, on the 1 hour time frame, things becomes a little bit much more clearer. Now, the key level here at the 15,250 is going to be playing a major role in determining what our next line of action will be. And in fact, if we take it a step further to extend this ascending trend line that we spotted on the daily, on the 4 hours time frame, you can see how it shares a confluence with that key level. So let's see what happens here. Let's secure this current position and let's remain patient to see how market participant will react to the zone. Now, depending on what happens here, will give us an insight of what to do. Now, let's look at what we should be expecting. Let's simulate all our expectations around this area. Now, if price comes into the zone and we begin to see buy pressure around this area, then we want to be anticipating an uptrend move to join that bullish momentum to the upside. Now, to capitalize on this bullish momentum, we need some levels that we want to be identifying on this chart. And to do this, I have something marked out along the 15,300 level. So you do want to be marking out these levels on your chart. So let me give this a darker color, differentiate it from the previous levels so we can emphasize its importance at this current juncture we are in right now. So we have something like this, and then beautiful. So you can see how this area has been a selling niche since the later part of the New York session yesterday. So we would like to see price break out of that structure, retest it, and then we want to feel comfortable joining that uptrend move. However, if price gets into this area and we begin to see reversal pattern, let's say for instance we have a double bottom structure, we mark out the neckline, wait for the breakout of the neckline to validate that this is a true reversal pattern, then we can join the uptrend move. So what this simply tells us right now is if price remains above that key levels, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of buying that asset. And I trust you on that one. Let's look out for those patterns to be able to capitalize on this uptrend move. However, if price, instead of finding reversal patterns around this area, it drops below the 15,250, that crucial juncture there, which shares a confluence with that ascending trend line, then this could be a sign that the ascending trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to maintain that bullish momentum we saw on the 4 hours time frame. And if this happens, we want to be getting ready for a momentum shift, getting ready to add more sell positions to our existing sell trade. So if a breakdown happens, if you're already profitable on the USTEC 100, that is, if you have been buying and selling like we've been doing since the beginning of the week, you must have scope a minimum of over 500 pips here. Then you can afford to leverage on the profit we had made so far this week to test waters below the 15,250. So in that regard, you can afford to have a sell stop order below the 15,250 to capitalize on the downtrend continuation. However, if you are new with us and this is your first time trading the USTEC 100 with us, then I will be suggesting you wait for confirmations which would reflect on the chart as a retest of structure before jumping into the downtrend move. So this is how we are going to be managing our positions on the USTEC 100 today. So I encourage you to remain very patient. Let's allow our structures to mature. And in fact, you do want to be marking out these levels on your chart as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. So these are my views here on the USTEC 100. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section.